I hate to break it to you, but you have been stupid too, just in a different way. Hear me out. That is the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. We've all judged others for what we think is obvious.
Surrounded by water, big water, ocean water.
How could they believe that? How could anyone fall for that scam? I'd never be in a relationship like that. But the truth is, you have your version of stupid too, and I have mine. We all do. Some of us believe in research that has been disproven. Some of us stay in relationships that hurt us. Some of us believe that our worth is tied to our productivity. Some of us think that success means burnout. And some of us deny red flags to a blue in the face, trusting charm over character. And some buy into all of the social media lies. It's not because we're stupid, it's because we're human. And humans have blind spots and cognitive dissonance. We have emotional needs that override logic, and we have trauma that rewires what safety feels like. And that is where cognitive dissonance kicks in. Psychologist Leon Festinger defined it as the tension that we feel when we hold two conflicting views or beliefs. It's why somebody can say they care about their health and still smoke. It's why we stay in jobs or relationships that we know are destroying us, because walking away would actually mean facing our fears and admitting we're wrong and facing a truth inside of us that conflicts with the current identity we have. And here is the kicker. Research actually shows that intelligent people are more likely to rationalize their own beliefs because their brains are actually better at constructing reasons that support their bias. And that is called motivated reasoning. So this whole us versus them narrative is a lie. There is no those people. We are them, just in a different way. You might pride yourself on never being scammed, but maybe you've lied to yourself for years about the limits of your belief system. You might scoff at somebody else's beliefs, but still cling to your own limitations instead of facing the grief that it would bring to admit the truth. You might see yourself as awakened, but you shut down every time somebody challenges your comfort. And being smart is being able to admit that. Maybe that is an activist who preaches kindness and inclusivity, but then discriminates and is abusive behind closed doors. Maybe that's a therapist who can't actually regulate their own nervous system. Maybe that is an expert in trauma who avoids their own family dynamic limitations of them. Maybe that is that self-help addict who has the knowledge but no application. Or the more obvious contradicting ones that we see in everyday life. Like, everybody should be treated equally, but I will treat people differently based on their status or their appearance. Or you should love yourself, but not too much because then that's arrogant, and I hate people like that. I hate fake people, but I can't show the real me either. Or the past doesn't define me, but I will use it to justify everything that I do. I want deep connection, but I avoid vulnerability. You should never make assumptions, but I've already decided who you are. People should just mind their own business, but I'll comment on everybody else's business and how they should live their life. I want honesty, but I will get offended when somebody tells me the truth. I support mental health, but I will label people too sensitive if they express their emotions, especially if it makes me uncomfortable. People should just be themselves, but I will definitely judge you if you don't fit in. Money doesn't matter, but I will stress constantly about my finances. So what do we do with this? We stop pretending that wisdom means having it all figured out. We start realizing that true intelligence includes humility. And we remind ourselves often that insight does not mean immunity. Awareness does not make you right forever. And being smart doesn't mean that you've never been blind. It's not about never being foolish. It's about recognizing when you are and being willing to admit that and grow. Because the moment that you believe that you are above being wrong, you've already lost the chance to become wiser. So instead of saying, what's wrong with them? Try asking yourself, what am I still doing to protect this version of myself and the foolishness inside of me? Because the more that we normalize that we all get it wrong, the more room we make for honesty, compassion, and growth. And that the world does not end when we admit that we are wrong. Nothing bad happens. In fact, it immediately puts out a fire inside of yourself and the one that people will use against you. And that, when you begin to do that, stupidity cannot live there.